This started out as just a plain forgotten glass jar, something I almost overlooked, but I saw a glow hiding inside. What if a pretty napkin, clay, and light could turn it into something magical? I'm going to transform the ordinary into a soft, glowing piece of art you'll actually feel proud to display. Hello, my crafty friends. I'm Donna from Mason Creations, etc., and welcome to my channel. If you're ready, my friends, let's make a mess. I got this jar from Hobby Lobby quite a while ago, and it's been sitting in my garage. Today, I decided to do something with it. The first thing I'm doing is wiping it off with an alcohol wipe. This will clean off any dirt, oil, or fingerprints. We want a nice clean surface to start off with. I'm going to brush on Polyvine's multi-surface lacquer in a dead flat finish. I'm using the dead flat finish because I want to remove the shine. It's specially formulated to create a durable bond on slick, non-porous surfaces such as plastic, glass, ceramic, and metal. That bond acts as a gripping layer that allows paints, decoupage papers, or transfers to stick more effectively. Without it, top layers may chip, scratch, or peel. For best results, I'm going to let this dry overnight. This and all the products you're going to see me use today came from DecoupageNapkins.com, my wonderful sponsors. I'm going to mix some white paint with water to make it very runny. I'm going to do a technique to remove a little of the clarity of the glass. I'm using Dixie Belle chalk paint and the color cotton. I'm painting on the runny paint and then dabbing it with a soft dry cloth, removing a lot of the paint, but leaving enough behind to make the glass translucent. The thin translucent layer of paint brightens up the napkin so you can see all the images clearly. But you can also see the light. If I put the paint on like normal, it would block out a lot of the light. I'm making sure not to overlap the paint. I don't want to have any dark streaks. My crafty friend Diane S. requested a jar with fairy lights. Here you go, Diane. This video is for you. Where are you all watching from, my crafty friends? Let me know in the comments. I just love to see what cities and countries all my friends are watching from. I'm filming from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. I'm only going to need half of this beautiful napkin. I cut the half that I'm going to use into two pieces, 5 1/4 inch wide. This will give me a minimal overlap and keep the center of the design on the front and back of the jar. This is a 3-ply napkin, so I'll need to remove the 2 additional plies. I'll only be using the first ply with the print on it. Make sure you stick around, my friends. Wait until you see the way this glows at the end. I'm going to use Polyvine Heavy Duty Varnish in a satin finish as my decoupage glue today. Anytime I'm decoupaging a napkin, I choose this formula. There is something about it that greatly reduces wrinkles and bubbles. I laid my napkin in place and I'm brushing the varnish over the top of the napkin very delicately, not pressing down hard. I don't want to tear the napkin. Adding an adhesive before you lay the napkin down isn't needed. That's one of the things that will cause wrinkles. The napkin is very thin and the varnish will soak right through to adhere it to your piece. I cut a small piece of a Ziploc bag and I'm misting it with a little bit of water. I laid it on top of the napkin and pressed out any wrinkles or bubbles with a paper towel, going from the center outward in all directions. Make sure you spray the plastic with water or it will stick to the napkin, pulling it off. There will always be a few little wrinkles. That's just inevitable when decoupaging a napkin on a curved surface. If you want to see a video on how to decoupage a napkin to a flat surface with absolutely zero wrinkles, click the banner in the top right corner. I'll also leave you a link in my description box for that video. I ended up having to remove a little bit of the napkin from the other side to make it fit well. Even though I am going to cover it up, I still want a very minimal overlap. Because you're watching this video today, DecoupageNapkins.com is going to give you a 10% discount on one order that's a minimum of at least $50. This is a one-time discount and is good on your entire order when you use the code MASON10 in all caps at checkout. So now you can get that mold you've been eyeing or some additional rice papers you've been wanting. Even if you've been ordering from them in the past, you can still take advantage of this one-time 10% discount when using the code above. I'll leave all this information for you in my description box below. To find my description box, click on the word more just below the title of this video. And I'll let this dry for a couple hours. I always make the rice paper or napkin a little bit longer than what I'm going to need, so that I can get a nice clean edge. I'm going to do this with a medium grit sandpaper. I'm running the sandpaper over the edge of my piece in a downward motion. Make sure you don't go upward, you'll risk lifting your rice paper or napkin. The sandpaper cuts off the paper, leaving a very clean edge. Now I'm going to give it another coat of the heavy-duty varnish to make sure my napkin is sealed properly. And then I'll let that dry for about an hour. I'm using my favorite, DOS clay, to make some embellishments for this project. DOS clay is so easy to work with, dries quickly, and has very little shrinkage or cracking when dry. It's perfect for making molded pieces. After pressing the clay into the mold, I'm scraping off the excess with my palette knife. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. When you click the like button, a new hype button shows up. If you click that, you'll be able to send points to my channel. YouTube will then send this video out to more viewers. This is great for my channel. I appreciate you for doing that. You won't want to miss any of the new projects coming up, so don't forget to subscribe. Now I'm smoothing the clay out with some water. Then I'll put them in the freezer for 20 minutes. Freezing the clay makes it rigid, so they just pop out of the mold easily. No fragile pieces will break off. Fresh out of the freezer, watch how easily these just pop out of the molds. No delicate little pieces will break off. They are frozen solid, so I'll need to let them thaw for a few minutes, but not in the mold. Make sure you remove them from the mold right away as soon as you take them out of the freezer. While they're thawing, I take that time to smooth out the edges and remove any little pieces of clay that shouldn't be there. While they're still somewhat frozen is a great time to do this. They're still hard, so touching them won't destroy all that beautiful detail. They do thaw quickly and will be ready to glue to your project within a few minutes. I'm going to use Aleene's tacky glue to add my molded clay to my piece. I need to add this while the clay is still wet so it'll conform to the piece as it dries. This is the best glue I've found for attaching wet clay. If any glue seeps out from under the clay, I'm removing it right away with a clean, damp brush. I'm also pressing down all the edges of the clay very delicately to make sure they're all connecting with the piece. I'm placing my clay right over top of the seams, making sure to position it so the seams don't show. Using my palette knife, I trimmed off any excess clay at the top that could interfere with the lid. DecoupageNapkins.com has an amazing selection of napkins, and the best part is that you can purchase them individually. They carry a wide range of craft supplies, including rice paper, paints, clay, molds, and an excellent selection of polyvine products. With thousands of items available and new products being added regularly, It's truly a one-stop shop for crafters. Orders are carefully packed and shipped quickly. You'll earn bonus points on orders over $100. Additional offers may vary and are often seasonal, so be sure to check their website. You'll find any promotions displayed in a banner at the top of their homepage. Subscribe to their newsletter by entering your email address to receive 10% off your next order. This discount is separate from the Mason 10 code and may be used on an additional purchase. I'll leave links to all the products I use in the description box below. Please note that all offers are subject to change. To find my description box, click on the word "More" below the title of this video. I ended up painting the top of the lid white. I was determined to get this clay on the lid, so I just kept removing pieces until it fit. Now it fits perfectly and looks pretty cool. And of course, I did the exact same thing on the other side of the jar, covering that seam as well. If you like gold, you're going to love what I end up doing with these swirls. So I'm going to let this dry overnight. This lid has been a little bit of a conundrum. I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with it. It's so pretty, but I decided I'm going to paint it to match all the beautiful clay swirls. Since it's shiny, it's going to need a coat of the multi-surface lacquer. I'm adding that and I'll let it dry overnight. I'm using Pentart paint in the color Hazelnut to paint all the swirls. I chose this color because it matches the brown twigs in the paper. I use a lot of Pentart paint. It's actually my favorite. It goes on smooth and creamy and covers in one coat just about every time. Any of the products I use in my videos are wonderful products that I personally believe in, so you can bet that each one is a great product. Everything I use will be listed in my description box below. Each one will have a blue link, so they're easy for you to find. Any links I provide are safe for you to click on. To find my description box, click on the word "More" just below the title of this video. Unfortunately, covering up this shiny copper plastic is going to take a second coat. I let the paint dry for about 30 minutes, and now I'm going to give everything a coat of my heavy-duty varnish. I'm going to be doing an antiquing technique and need a shiny surface for this to work properly. I'll let the varnish dry for an hour before moving on to the antiquing process. Okay, time to antique. I'm using Folk Art Pre-Mixed Antique Medium in the color Wooden Bucket Brown, but it's not quite dark enough, so I'm adding a little black paint. Since I'm adding paint, I'm also adding some glazing medium to keep the paint from drying too quickly. I'm brushing my antique on the piece, going over and around all the embellishments. I'm doing this in sections and wiping the antique off with a soft, dry cloth right away before it can dry. Because of the gloss finish, it will wipe off the surface and stay in all the cracks and crevices, showing the details of the mold. Antiquing gives your embellishments some depth and dimension, making everything look 3D instead of flat. What a difference it makes. Everything just comes to life now. In most of my videos, you'll see me using a lot of different tools that make life so much easier. Things like a turquoise cup cradle to keep round objects from getting away, a bodabra that makes bows in a snap, a water brush for separating rice paper and napkins, small art brushes for fine detail work, palette knives, and a rhinestone picker. If you're interested in checking out any of these items, you can find them listed in my description box below, in my favorite tools section. To find my description box, click on the word "More" just below the title of this video. and I'll let this dry for a couple hours. I'm going to give the entire jar a final coat of varnish. This is going to protect all my work. All of the Polyvine varnishes are wonderful sealers, but the heavy-duty varnish is my preferred one to use. I love the flawless satin sheen it gives, which is moisture, heat, abrasion, chemical, and stain resistant, as well as food safe. It's water-based, so there is no strong smell or harmful fumes. If you've been using Polyvine products, you're going to notice that they've changed all the labels and some of the product names. The heavy-duty wood varnish is now heavy-duty varnish, and the heavy-duty extreme varnish is now exterior extreme varnish. I hope you love and enjoy these products as much as I do. And then I'll let that dry for about an hour. Now it's time to add that shimmer and sparkle that you've been waiting for. I'm using redesigned Decor Wax in the color Eternal. It is such a gorgeous gold. I'm going to use it to highlight all the swirls. I'm putting a small amount of the rub on my finger and rubbing it together with my thumb. Smearing it around like that prevents a large amount of your product ending up in one place. I'm just catching the tops and not getting it into any of the little cracks and crevices. I want them to remain dark for the contrast. Isn't that spectacular? When this dries, it'll look just like real gold. The wax won't need to be sealed. It's actually a sealer in itself. So this will always be the last thing you add to your projects. It's literally the icing on the cake. I put some around the top and bottom edges of the jar as well. I will let this dry for a few hours. I don't want to handle it and smear the wax. After the wax dried, I buffed it to a fabulous shine using a soft, dry cloth. I got some fairy lights, but didn't realize that this was made for a wine bottle until I got home. But oh well, it worked just fine. I glued the mechanism to the underside of the lid, making sure that the battery access and on switch was visible. Don't forget, all of the wonderful products I'm using today can be found at my favorite place for craft supplies, decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll leave you links in my description box below. I added a link to my new playlist of easy spring projects. Click the picture on the right to be taken directly to that playlist. I'm so happy you were here with me today, and thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all next week. I'm working on a new project with you in mind. You can subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner.